June 19, 2016. Oracle Arena, Oakland, California. 31-year-old LeBron James stood at the free throw line with 4.7 seconds remaining in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. His Cleveland Cavaliers clinging to a 92-89 lead over the Golden State Warriors. 107 straight NBA Finals Game 7s had been decided by more than 5 points. This was the first Game 7 in Finals history where the score was within 3 points in the final minute. The pressure was suffocating, historic, unbearable. LeBron made the first free throw, 93-89. He missed the second intentionally short, trying to run time off the clock. Golden State rebounded but couldn't score. The final buzzer sounded. The Cleveland Cavaliers were NBA champions for the first time in franchise history. Cleveland, a city that hadn't won a major sports championship since 1964, was finally celebrating. And LeBron, who'd left Cleveland for Miami in 2010 in a televised special that became the most hated moment of his career, had delivered on his promise to bring a championship home. LeBron collapsed on the court, sobbing uncontrollably. Teammates mobbed him. His coach, Tyronn Lue, was crying. 52 years of Cleveland sports suffering, 46 years of Cleveland Cavaliers futility, and the most improbable finals comeback in history. It all came together in that moment. The Warriors had won 73 games during the regular season, the most in NBA history. They'd taken a 3-1 series lead in the finals. No team in NBA history had ever come back from 3-1 down to win the finals until LeBron did it. Within minutes, LeBron would deliver his iconic quote to ABC's Doris Burke. "Cleveland, this is for you." The words would echo through the city, through Northeast Ohio, through every person who'd suffered through the drive, the fumble, the shot, the decision, and decades of losing. LeBron James, who'd been called a choker, who'd been burned in effigy in Cleveland after leaving, who'd been told he'd never win a championship in his hometown, had done the impossible. This is the story of how a kid raised by a single mother in Akron, Ohio, sleeping on different couches each night and missing over 80 days of school in 4th grade, became the greatest high school basketball player ever and the first overall pick in the 2003 NBA draft. How he spent 7 years in Cleveland being criticized for not having a killer instinct before leaving for Miami in the most hated sports decision of the 21st century. How he won 2 championships in Miami but couldn't escape the pull of home, and why June 19, 2016 remains the most emotionally significant championship in American sports history. LeBron Ramon James was born December 30, 1984 in Akron, Ohio. To Gloria James, a 16-year-old single mother. His father was not present. He never knew him. Gloria struggled desperately to provide for her son, working whatever job she could find, moving constantly between apartments, relatives' homes, and temporary housing. The instability was devastating for young LeBron. In 4th grade, LeBron missed over 80 days of school because Gloria couldn't provide stable housing. They'd stay with friends or relatives for weeks, then move when situations changed. LeBron would sleep on couches, floors, wherever space existed. He attended 5 different elementary schools. The chaos made learning difficult, made forming friendships nearly impossible, made life feel uncertain and frightening for a young boy who just wanted stability. What saved LeBron was basketball and football. At age 9, LeBron joined a youth football team coached by Bruce Kelker, who recognized that the boy needed more than athletic coaching. Kelker and his wife offered to let LeBron live with them during the football season to provide stability. Gloria, recognizing her son needed what she couldn't provide, agreed. LeBron moved in with the Kelkers, a white family in suburban Akron, experiencing for the first time what stable family life looked like. He had his own bed, regular meals, help with homework, structure, and discipline. His school attendance became perfect. His grades improved dramatically. The Kelkers introduced LeBron to Frank Walker, who coached youth basketball and had connections throughout Akron's basketball community. Walker saw immediately that LeBron had extraordinary potential. By age 10, LeBron was dominating youth basketball leagues, playing with boys 2 and 3 years older, consistently being the best player on the court. Walker and Kelker worked with Gloria to create an arrangement where LeBron would split time between Gloria's housing and the homes of Walker and other families who could provide the stability he needed. It wasn't formal adoption or foster care, but a community coming together to ensure a talented kid didn't fall through the cracks. By middle school, LeBron was attending St. Vincent and St. Mary High School, a private Catholic school in downtown Akron. He was there on scholarship, his tuition paid by donors who'd been convinced by coaches and teachers that this kid was special. LeBron, Drew Joyce III, Sion Cotton, and Willie McGee formed a basketball team that would dominate Ohio high school basketball for 4 years, calling themselves the Fab Four in homage to Michigan's Fab Five from the 1990s. LeBron's high school career was unprecedented. As a freshman, he averaged 21 points and led St. Vincent and Mary to the state championship. As a sophomore, he averaged 25 points and won another state title. As a junior, Sports Illustrated put him on the cover with the headline, "The Chosen One," calling him the best high school basketball player in America. His games were moved to the University of Akron's arena to accommodate crowds of thousands. ESPN televised his games nationally. NBA scouts attended regularly, evaluating whether this teenager could skip college and succeed in the NBA. The attention was overwhelming. He was 17 years old, living with a single mother and subsidized housing, being treated like a professional athlete. Reporters followed him everywhere. Autograph seekers mobbed him. His mother accepted a loan to buy a Hummer H2 SUV for LeBron's 18th birthday, which triggered an investigation by the Ohio High School Athletic Association about whether LeBron had accepted improper benefits that would violate his amateur status. The investigation was eventually dropped, but it highlighted the bizarre situation, a teenager from poverty being scrutinized like a professional while generating millions in ticket sales and television revenue for others. LeBron finished high school with averages of 31.6, 9.6 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 3.4 steals as a senior. He was named Mr. Basketball USA 3 times, was a McDonald's All-American, and won the Naismith Award as the best high school basketball player in America. His jersey was retired at St. Vincent and St. Mary. His high school career statistics were video game-level dominance against the best high school competition in the country. In April 2003, LeBron declared for the NBA draft. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who'd finished with the worst record in the NBA that season, won the draft lottery, giving them the first overall pick. The coincidence seemed almost too perfect. The best basketball player since Michael Jordan, raised just 40 miles south of Cleveland, would come home to save the perpetually struggling Cleveland Cavaliers franchise. On June 26, 2003, Cleveland selected LeBron with the first pick. He signed a 3-year, $12.96 million contract with a team option for a 4th year. Nike signed him to a 7-year, $90 million endorsement deal before he'd played a single NBA game. The pressure on 18-year-old LeBron was suffocating. He was supposed to save the Cleveland Cavaliers, save the city of Cleveland, live up to being the chosen one. His first NBA game was October 29, 2003 against the Sacramento Kings. LeBron scored 25 points with 6
rebounds and 9 assists in a loss. The performance was remarkable for a teenager playing against grown men, but the Cavaliers still lost. That would be the story of LeBron's first 7 years in Cleveland: individual brilliance, team failure. From 2003 to 2010, LeBron established himself as the best player in basketball. He won NBA Rookie of the Year. He made the All-Star team as a 20-year-old. He led the Cavaliers to the playoffs for the first time in franchise history in 2006. In 2007, he carried a mediocre Cavaliers roster to the NBA Finals, where they were destroyed in 4 games by the San Antonio Spurs. LeBron was 22 years old, playing in the finals with teammates who would never make another All-Star team. The Spurs were a dynasty with 3 championships already, featuring Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili. Cleveland was overmatched. LeBron won his first MVP award in 2009, then another in 2010. He averaged 29.7 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 7.3 assists those 2 seasons. He was the best player on earth. But the Cavaliers couldn't build a championship team around him. Management made questionable trades and free agent signings. The roster around LeBron was always flawed. Shooters who couldn't defend, defenders who couldn't shoot, no second star who could take pressure off LeBron in crucial moments. The breaking point came in the 2010 Eastern Conference semifinals against the Boston Celtics. The Cavaliers, who'd won 61 games and had the best record in the NBA, lost to Boston in 6 games. In the decisive Game 6, played in Cleveland, LeBron had one of the worst performances of his career, scoring just 27 points on 8 of 21 shooting with questionable effort on defense. Fans were devastated. Critics called LeBron a choker, someone who couldn't perform in crucial moments. The loss cemented a narrative that would haunt LeBron for years. He wasn't a winner, didn't have the killer instinct of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, couldn't be the best player on a championship team. LeBron's contract expired after the 2010 season. He could become a free agent, signing with any team. Every NBA franchise with salary cap space recruited him. The most aggressive pursuers were the Miami Heat, New York Knicks, New Jersey Nets, Los Angeles Clippers, and of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who desperately wanted him to stay. For weeks, speculation dominated sports media. Where would LeBron go? The tension consumed Cleveland. Fans desperately wanted him to stay, but rumors suggested he was leaving. On July 8, 2010, ESPN aired The Decision, a 1-hour television special where LeBron would announce his choice. The show was produced by LeBron's marketing team, with proceeds going to charity. LeBron sat across from ESPN's Jim Gray in a Boys and Girls Club in Connecticut. After 28 minutes of build-up and commercials, Gray asked the question, "What's your decision?" LeBron answered, "In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat." The reaction in Cleveland was volcanic rage. Fans burned LeBron jerseys in the streets. Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert published an open letter calling LeBron a coward and a narcissist, promising Cleveland would win a championship before LeBron's former team. Sports bars that had been packed with hopeful fans watching the announcement became scenes of anger and betrayal. LeBron James, the kid from Akron who'd promised to bring a championship to Cleveland, had abandoned them on national television in the most humiliating way possible. The backlash extended beyond Cleveland. Sports media called the decision narcissistic, tone-deaf, disrespectful to Cleveland and to the sport. Former NBA players criticized LeBron for joining forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami rather than competing against them. Michael Jordan, LeBron's idol, never would have joined Larry Bird's Celtics or Magic Johnson's Lakers. Winners built dynasties. Losers joined super teams. That was the narrative. LeBron's first season in Miami was a disaster. The Heat reached the NBA Finals but lost to the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games. LeBron had another poor performance in the crucial moments, criticized for deferring to Wade, for disappearing in the fourth quarter of close games, for seeming afraid to take the big shots. The narrative intensified. LeBron was soft, a loser, someone who would never win a championship as the team's best player. Then something changed. In the 2012 playoffs, LeBron dominated. He was aggressive, confident, ruthless. The Heat defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder in 5 games to win the championship. LeBron won Finals MVP, averaging 28.6 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 7.3 assists. He'd finally silenced the critics. He wasn't a choker anymore. He was a champion. The Heat won again in 2013, defeating the San Antonio Spurs in 7 games in one of the greatest finals series ever played. LeBron won his second Finals MVP. He was 38 years old, a 2-time champion, 4-time MVP, seemingly positioned to spend the rest of his prime winning championships in Miami. But something was pulling him back to Cleveland. In June 2014, LeBron opted out of his contract with Miami. On July 11, 2014, he published an essay in Sports Illustrated announcing his return to Cleveland. The essay was titled, "I'm Coming Home." LeBron wrote about his love for Northeast Ohio, about unfinished business, about wanting to win a championship for the city that had raised him. The tone was different from The Decision, humble, apologetic, focused on others rather than himself. Cleveland fans were ecstatic, but wary. They'd been burned once. Could they trust LeBron again? Would he deliver this time? LeBron promised he would. "I'm not promising a championship," he wrote. I know how hard that is to deliver. We're not ready right now. No way. Of course I want to win next year, but I'm realistic. It will be a long process, much longer than it was in 2010. LeBron's first season back in Cleveland, 2014-15, ended in heartbreak. The Cavaliers reached the finals but lost to Golden State in 6 games. LeBron's 2 best teammates, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, both suffered injuries during the playoffs. LeBron was playing with a depleted roster against a Golden State team that had won 67 games. He averaged 35.8 points, 13.3 rebounds, and 8.8 assists in the finals, but couldn't overcome the Warriors' depth and talent. It was 2007 all over again. LeBron brilliant, teammates overmatched, Cleveland heartbroken. The 2015-16 season began with expectations tempered by the previous year's finals loss. The Warriors, led by Stephen Curry, were even better, starting the season 24-0 and finishing with a record 73 wins, breaking the 1995-96 Chicago Bulls record of 72 wins. Curry won his 2nd consecutive MVP, the first player to win unanimously. The Warriors looked unstoppable, a team that could challenge the Bulls for the title of greatest team ever. The Cavaliers finished 57-25, excellent but not historic. LeBron had turned 31 in December, no longer in his absolute prime. Kyrie Irving was 23, a talented scorer but inconsistent. Kevin Love was adjusting to being the 3rd option after being a 26 points per game scorer in Minnesota. The Cavaliers were good, maybe even great, but the Warriors seemed unbeatable. The Cavaliers dispatched Detroit, Atlanta, and Toronto in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, reaching the finals for the 2nd straight year. The Warriors destroyed Portland, defeated Houston, and eliminated Oklahoma City after falling behind 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals, coming back to win the series. The finals rematch was set, Warriors vs. Cavaliers, Part 2.
Game 1 in Oakland was a blowout. Golden State won 104-89. Game 2 was closer, but the Warriors still won 110-77. Cleveland was down 0-2. And worse, Kyrie Irving was playing poorly, averaging just 15 points on terrible shooting. Kevin Love was a non-factor. LeBron was playing well, but couldn't beat the Warriors alone. The series looked over. Game 3 in Cleveland, the Cavaliers won 120-90 behind LeBron's 32 points and Kyrie's resurgence with 30 points. Game 4, Cleveland won 137-116, with LeBron and Kyrie combining for 82 points, the most ever by teammates in a finals game. The series was tied 2-2. Hope returned to Cleveland. Maybe this was possible. Game 5 in Oakland, Golden State won 104-91, taking a 3-1 series lead. The Warriors were 1 win from the championship. They could clinch at home in Game 6 or in Cleveland in Game 7. History said the series was over. No team had ever come back from 3-1 down in the finals. Warriors forward Draymond Green was so confident, he told reporters, "It's over." But Draymond Green made a critical mistake in Game 4 that would change everything. He tangled with LeBron, and in the scuffle, Green swung his arm into LeBron's groin area. LeBron lobbied the NBA to review the play and assess Green a flagrant foul. The NBA complied, giving Green a flagrant 1 foul after the game, which triggered a 1-game suspension because Green had accumulated too many flagrant foul points during the playoffs. Green would miss Game 5. The Warriors had lost their defensive anchor, the emotional leader who guarded LeBron and orchestrated their switching defense. Game 6 in Cleveland, with Green suspended, the Cavaliers dominated 115-101. LeBron had 41 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. Kyrie added 41 points. The 2 stars combined for 82 points for the 2nd time in 3 games. The series was going to Game 7. Cleveland had forced the impossible, a winner-take-all game against the greatest regular season team in NBA history. June 19, 2016. Oracle Arena, Game 7 of the NBA Finals. The pressure was suffocating. For LeBron, this was legacy-defining. If he lost, he'd be 2-5 in finals appearances, permanently branded as someone who couldn't win the big one. If he won, he delivered Cleveland's first championship in 52 years and cement his argument as one of the greatest players ever. For the Warriors, this was validation. Win, and they'd complete the greatest season in NBA history. Lose, and their 73-win season would be remembered as a failure. The game was a defensive struggle. Both teams were exhausted, nervous, missing shots. At halftime, the score was tied 49-49. Third quarter, Golden State took an 87-83 lead into the fourth quarter. The Warriors were 12 minutes from the championship. LeBron and Kyrie were both exhausted, having played 41 and 40 minutes respectively, but they couldn't rest. The championship was on the line. With 4:39 remaining and the score tied 89-89, LeBron made the defensive play that defined the series. Warriors forward Andre Iguodala had a breakaway layup that would have given Golden State a 2-point lead. LeBron, who'd been standing near mid-court, sprinted back on defense and caught Iguodala from behind, blocking his layup attempt off the backboard. The block, later called the block, was superhuman. A 6'8", 250-pound, 31-year-old tracking down a player on a breakaway and making a perfect defensive play in the biggest moment of his career. 50 seconds later, with the score still 89-89, Kyrie Irving dribbled to the top of the key, Stephen Curry defending him. Kyrie crossed over, created space, and hit a three-pointer with 53 seconds remaining. 92-89 Cavaliers. The shot, later called simply the shot, gave Cleveland a lead they'd never relinquish. It was the biggest shot in Cleveland sports history, delivered by a 24-year-old point guard playing alongside his childhood idol. LeBron went to the free throw line with 4.7 seconds left, Cleveland up 92-89. He made the first, missed the second, intentionally trying to run time off the clock. Golden State rebounded but couldn't score. The buzzer sounded. LeBron collapsed, sobbing. Cleveland was NBA champion. The comeback from 3-1 down was complete. The 52-year championship drought was over. LeBron's final statistics were historic: 29.7 points, 11.3 rebounds, 8.9 assists, 2.6 steals, and 2.3 blocks. He became the first player ever to lead both teams in all 5 major statistical categories in a final series. Kyrie averaged 27.1 points, providing the second star LeBron had never had in his first stint in Cleveland. Together, they'd beaten the greatest regular season team in NBA history. The celebration in Cleveland was unprecedented. Over 1 million people attended the championship parade, the largest gathering in Cleveland history. LeBron spoke at the parade, delivering an emotional speech about promises kept and dreams fulfilled. "Cleveland," he said, his voice breaking, "this is for you." The words echoed through the crowd, through the city, through every person who'd suffered through decades of sports heartbreak. The cultural impact extended beyond Cleveland. LeBron had delivered on his promise to win a championship for his hometown, redeeming the decision and proving that going home mattered. He'd beaten a 73-win team after falling behind 3-1, completing the greatest finals comeback in history. He'd silenced critics who said he wasn't clutch, didn't have a killer instinct, couldn't beat great teams when everything was on the line. LeBron stayed in Cleveland for one more season, reaching the finals again in 2017, but losing to Golden State, which had added Kevin Durant in free agency. In 2018, LeBron left Cleveland for the second time, signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. The departure was different from 2010. No television special, no drama, just a respectful goodbye. Cleveland fans were disappointed, but understanding. LeBron had delivered what he'd promised. He'd brought a championship home. He'd ended 52 years of suffering. He owed Cleveland nothing more. LeBron won his 4th championship with the Lakers in 2020, cementing his legacy as one of the greatest players ever. He's now 40 years old, playing his 22nd NBA season, having passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. His career will end soon, but the 2016 championship in Cleveland will always be his most meaningful, the achievement that defined his legacy. For Cleveland, June 19, 2016 remains the most important day in the city's sports history. The Browns had won the NFL championship in 1964, but that was 52 years earlier, before most fans were born. The Indians hadn't won the World Series since 1948. The Cavaliers had never won anything. Cleveland was the sports capital of misery, defined by heartbreaking losses, the drive, the fumble, the shot, the decision. Then LeBron came back from 3-1 down against a 73-win team, and delivered the championship that freed an entire city from decades of suffering. When LeBron James left Cleveland in 2010, he was called a traitor, a coward, someone who had abandoned his home. When he returned in 2014, skeptics said he'd fail again, that Cleveland was cursed, that one player couldn't overcome 52 years of futility. When the Warriors took a 3-1 lead in the 2016 finals,
those skeptics seemed vindicated. History said no team had ever come back from 3-1 down in the finals. The greatest regular season team in history was one win away. It was over. But LeBron, the kid from Akron who'd slept on different couches every night, who'd missed 80 days of school in 4th grade, who'd been called the chosen one at 17, and been given
Impossible expectations delivered. He averaged 36.3 points, 11.7 rebounds, 9.7 assists, 3.0 steals, and 3.0 blocks in the final 3 games. He made the block. Kyrie made the shot. And Cleveland, after 52 years, finally celebrated a championship. Because sometimes, against all odds, despite history saying it's impossible, someone achieves something extraordinary. And on June 19, 2016 in Oakland, California, LeBron James was that someone.